I've mentioned a few times on my channel about our slide costing us $10,000, and I have never actually told the whole story, so I thought I'd go ahead and tell you that story. If I had just asked the right questions, it wouldn't have cost us that much money, and in the end, when we found out what the problem was, it was kind of ridiculous, and it would definitely not have cost us so much and been such a nightmare to deal with. So here's the story. We bought the RV in 2017 and took it out here and there just to kind of get the kinks out. And then we went on the road full time in August of 2019. And all was fine, all was good. And then the slide started having some issues. It was one of those things that we didn't really know what was causing it. And if you know anything about slides, they have these metal slides that the slide comes in and out on. So it's this thing right here. These right here. And there's 4 of them. So ours has 4, has one bottom, one top on both sides. So we have 4 of them. And if your RV isn't level and you keep bringing that slide in and out, it's going to eventually cause some grinding on those slides, and it's going to start to cause problems. Well, we weren't doing that. We were making sure our slide was level. So that was not the issue. But those 4 slides were becoming misaligned. And then when our slide would come in, it wouldn't come in all the way. It wouldn't come in properly. The bottom left corner would kind of be sticking out a little bit, and it wasn't right. So we went and got it fixed, spent $3,000 putting brand new metal slides on, 4 new slides. They had to, prop up the slide so it doesn't fall out, take those old slides off, put new ones on. Put the exact same thing on that they had before. Everything was fine. Slide worked just fine. Another 2 years go by, we start having problems again. The slide wasn't working. It was coming a little askew. It wasn't quite going in correct. So we decided to have my dad look at it. Dad took a look at it, spent some money putting in the new slides. All was fine. That was our second replacement. All was fine, no problems. Then it happened again, another year or so down the line. Now, at this point, you would think we would be smart enough to just say, hey, maybe there's something more causing this problem. Maybe it's not just the slides. Maybe there's something else happening. But we didn't know what we didn't know. We didn't ask the right questions. And that was not something that was even on our radar. So what did we do? We took it into the shop, wherever we were, stayed in a hotel. Finney got fleas, total nightmare, spent another $3,000 getting it fixed. And by the way, the second place that we went to that got fixed our slides were not nice. I was not a fan of these people, but unfortunately, sometimes you're in places where there's only one option. I guess they knew they were the only option because they were not very kind. $3,000 down the drain, got them fixed, got back on the road, got Finney flea-free. I hate staying in hotels with her because she always gets fleas. Went back on the road, doing fine. Another year goes by. Now we're starting to have slide problems again. Okay, but this time it got really weird, and I will never forget this. Now, unfortunately, at the time I wasn't filming anything, so I don't have documentation of this. However, I was on FaceTime with my dad, and what he wanted us to do was I was going to stand in the back of the RV where the back slide is and be on FaceTime with Dad to show him what it looked like when the slide was coming in. Now, normally that's not a place where you stand because you would get stuck behind in the bedroom and not be able to get out. And so normally you wouldn't stand there. So I'm back there. I'm actually just going to go in and show you. Let me show you where I am. I'm in the back bedroom area back here, and I'm going to flip the camera around. So this is where the back slide is, right here. And this slide comes in. Now you can't be back here because if you are and the slide comes all the way in, then there's only like this much space and you get stuck. So I'm standing back here and I'm filming down in this corner right here. Filming this. Well, I wasn't filming, I was on FaceTime with my dad. And Garner brings the slide in, and from right here, when he brought that slide in, I could see the ground outside and the wheel to our RV, which meant every time that slide came in, it was pulling this wall away from the floor. Now, you don't have to be a mechanical genius to know that that's not good. You're not supposed to be able to see the outside of your RV when you are inside your RV. And so I freak out, Dad freaks out. He's like, that's not good. So we were in the Myrtle Beach area and we went to another RV repair place. It was going to cost us another $3,000. At this point, we are at over $10,000 to fix this slide, which every time we just thought it was those metal slides. It wasn't. So this particular RV repair place was wonderful. They were so kind and I loved them. Finney still got fleas from the hotel we stayed at. However, they told me, we're going to figure out what's causing this issue. And sure enough, they did. They ended up taking the entire side of our RV off and saw that one thing was causing all of this $10,000 headache, fleas, hotels, nightmare. One thing was causing it. It was a factory error where somebody on that day decided that they didn't want to get off their butt and go get a longer bolt to put in so that the floor properly attached to the wall. So what was happening was every single time we brought our slide in, I want you to imagine like if you're sitting on the floor in a door frame and you go to get yourself up and you hold on to the side of the door frame and you pull yourself up. That's what our slide does. It basically is holding on to that side of that wall and pulling itself in. Well, if you can imagine, if that wall is not attached to the floor because somebody had a short bolt, well, every time you go to pull yourself up, you are slowly pulling the wall away from the RV, from the floor. And that's not good. So they said, that's your problem. We put in the correct size bolt because somebody decided they didn't want to put the right one in. And we have not had any issues since. Knock on wood. There's a wood table over here. I'm going to knock on this wood table because I don't want to fix it again. So if you have an issue with your RV and it is a recurring issue, maybe don't ask for the, like, how do I fix it? Ask what is causing this issue to happen. Because if we had just known that first time it was a problem, for them to take a look and make sure that the actual wall was correct and it was being pulled in, it wasn't just the metal slides, we would be like $6,000, $7,000 richer. But no, unfortunately, that one bolt that was too short cost us 10 grand. So thank you to whoever decided they wanted to take an early lunch break on that day at the Imagine Grand Design factory, because what a nightmare. You live and you learn. RV life is definitely about maintenance, but the lesson learned from this is ask what's causing the problem, not just how to fix it. So there you go. That's my story. It's not as glamorous as I would like it to be. However, it is the truth. It is what happened, and it is just one of the very few stories that we have about crazy things that have happened to us as RVers on the road. Hope you enjoyed this. Click a like if you have any questions, or if you've got your own crazy RV story, I would love to hear it. What went wrong on your rig that just was a complete nightmare? Leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear it because we all have those stories, and I just need to know that I'm not the only one that's dealing with what could have been a $3,000 fix and paid $10,000 instead. All right, thanks so much for being here. I'm Krista. I'm on a quest to check off 10,000 bucket list no, 10,000. Oh gosh, no, 1,000. I'm barely gonna be able to get through 1,000. 1,000 bucket list adventures. This RV is one of the vessels that's gonna take us there. Hope you enjoyed this story, and I will see you on the next adventure. Bye.